Hello, my name is Austin Kruger, and today, along with my teammates Anthony, Katie, Ronald, Noah, Ashley, and Peter, we will collectively be talking about Alphabet's data collection and privacy analysis. First, I'd like to give a rundown of what's to come in this presentation. I will start us off by giving a background on Alphabet, as well as a quick look into their financials and revenue breakdown. Then, Anthony will inform you of our key issue, privacy invasion through data collection, and he will dive into a lawsuit against Alphabet pertaining to this issue. Next, Katie, Ron, and Noah will discuss how this issue specifically affects stakeholders, with Katie focusing on users and investors, Ron focusing on domestic government, and Noah will talk about how it affects foreign relations and foreign governments. Ashley will then present on some of Alphabet's most fierce competitors, and we'll wrap it up with Peter giving a rundown on how the recent COVID-19 pandemic has affected Alphabet as well as its competitors. Alphabet is a multinational conglomerate, meaning they're a parent company of hundreds of different subsidiaries throughout many different industries all across the globe. When founded in 2015 after a restructuring of Google, Alphabet set out to be unlike any other company. They wanted to be a unique and innovative entity. Although there may be instances where Alphabet has crossed the line in terms of user privacy, I believe that they truly are using this information for the betterment of society. After all, when Larry Page says, especially in technology, we need revolutionary change, not incremental change. I think that revolutionary change that he's talking about would not be possible without the data collection that they are currently utilizing. Now, we'll take a look into Alphabet's financials, who in January of 2020 became just the fourth US-based company to pass $1 trillion in market capitalization. To the right is a chart of Alphabet's stock price since taking over the Goog and Google stocks since the restructuring in 2015. One thing to note is a consistent year-over-year growth, not only of their stock price, but their revenue as well. In Q4 of 2019, Alphabet had a revenue of $46.075 billion, which was up 17% from their Q4 2018 numbers. In the years to come, look for these numbers to only continue to rise. The last thing I will be covering today is a breakdown of Alphabet's revenue. Although they bring in billions of dollars each year and have hundreds of subsidiaries, the revenue breakdown is very lopsided, with over 80% of Alphabet's revenue or annual revenue coming in from Google ad revenue. In 2019, Google had a total ad revenue of $37.93 billion. This enormous amount is largely in part of Google having over 86% of the market share for leading search engines. Now, I'll hand it off to Anthony, who will talk to you about our key issue of data collection and user privacy. Take it away, Anthony.
Thank you, Austin, for the company background information and financials. I'm Anthony Flores. The next few slides will cover the recent controversy or the main key issue that Alphabet has gone through. Alphabet is facing a privacy invasion lawsuit. This lawsuit accuses Alphabet of collecting private information from millions of users about what they search or view online. This collecting of information even occurred when the people were in incognito mode, or in other words, private browsing. This lawsuit attempts to seek $5 billion for this unjust privacy invasion scandal. The next slide will discuss how and why Alphabet made this lawsuit occur. How and why. Without going into too many logistics, I can provide a brief explanation on how this happened. Alphabet supposedly used various online resources to make this happen. They used Google Analytics, Google Ad Manager, website plugins, and smartphone apps. Furthermore, this search even occurred when the viewers did not interact with Google-related ads. Why would Alphabet want to do something like this? Alphabet would consider doing something like this, gain key information about the consumers. This information included consumer habits, hobbies, and shopping preferences. This would help tremendously in marketing and trying to best suit consumer needs for the future. Now we will go on to Katie with how this privacy invasion lawsuit affected shareholders and its users. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Hi, everyone. My name is Katie O'Connor, and I will be discussing the effects that the lawsuit has on Alphabet's users and investors. So as Anthony pointed out, Alphabet is facing a $5 billion lawsuit due to privacy invasion as well as data collection. With this negative news surrounding the company, investors could expect to potentially see a devaluation of their stock come the near future. In addition, if data and information that was collected from users, whether they were using private mode or not, is leaked, the user's well-being could be at stake. Because of this, each user that has been using incognito or private mode since as early as June 1st, 2016, is subject to receive $5,000 from the lawsuit. So, what could this mean for Alphabet's future plans? The news following this lawsuit could be very damaging to Alphabet's reputation altogether. Therefore, this will make it very difficult for Alphabet to enter the medical records market, which was their next plan. Because it is so important that the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, is upheld, privacy is a necessity for the medical records market. Due to the fact that this lawsuit involves privacy invasion, it will be extremely difficult for Alphabet to prove that they will protect the privacy of the people's medical records over their own other motives. Thank you so much for listening. And with that, I'll hand the presentation off to Ron to discuss the effects of the lawsuit on the US government.
Thank you, Katie, for that lead-in, as well as your analysis on users and investors in respect to Alphabet Incorporated. Greetings, Director. My name is Ronald Graham, and I will be analyzing stakeholders in respect to the domestic government, both federal and state. The U.S. market is approximately 43% of Alphabet's total revenue from advertising and cloud storage capabilities. That is approximately $70 billion per year that can be gravely affected by changes in regulation or public sentiment. However, as it currently stands, Alphabet has strong relations with the US government, administration, and various intelligence agencies like the CIA and NSA due to contracts that have been performed over the past 10 to 15 years. However, it should also be stated that we have a weak relationship with the Federal Trade Commission, the Justice Department, and various House Judiciary committees over possible antitrust activity due to our rapid expansion and growth across multiple fields. As to domestic political and regulatory concerns, there's also statewide issues due to the adoption and expansion of state privacy and data protection acts over the past few years, starting with California. As of this moment, there are 25 acts that have either been passed, enacted, or currently pending. As stated earlier, regulations such as this can cause severe damage for our ability to gather information and continue to build our brand through machine learning and AI research. There is also the possibility of a reevaluation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. The DMCA allows us to be free of liability in cases where we connect search data from one subject to another that contains copyrighted material. By possible reevaluation of the DMCA, there is the possibility that we could be held liable for the actions of other people, which would require us to not host this data in the first place just to reduce liabilities. Also, as stated in the previous slide, there is the possibility of the Sherman Antitrust Act being used to break up portions of Alphabet. Most likely it would be sections of Google from the main entity. Next, I would like to introduce Noah Vega, who will be going over global political and regulatory concerns and how Alphabet Inc. has a stakeholder environment and its interactions with various foreign governments. Thank you, Director.
Thanks, Ron. Let's talk about stakeholders in foreign government. If we can look to the figure to the right, we can see that Google has a market share of 78.16% of the global market. That comes with a lot of influence. With that much influence also comes a lot of worry from countries. As we'll see as time goes on, there will be improved relations with tech companies such as Google, but as well as stressed relations. Talking about regulatory concerns, we need to understand the power of tech companies. The power of tech companies entails gathering an enormous amount of data that is able to track behavior and patterns and understand the next move of a consumer. As time goes on in the digital age, there becomes a worry of how an individual's data is being used or how it is being exploited or sold. The EU stepped in and passed regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation, also known as the GDPR, that ensured that consent between both parties were present for the transfer of data. China, on the other hand, has shown to censor certain information in their country. Google, being a supplier of China, they were able to see that their information was being censored, but they allowed for it to continue to have that continued business. Though stakeholders and consumers stepped up and didn't believe that this was a part of the mission or the values of Google. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Ashley, where she will talk about competition.
Thank you, Noah. Some of the main competitors of Alphabet within the internet and computer software industry are Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and many more. Although Alphabet was caught in this data collection and privacy scandal, many other direct competitors have been involved in scandals as well. Amazon, for example, has many of their own issues with the release of Amazon Echo and Alexa voice assistant. These devices were released in 2015, and since then, there have been many problems with privacy and data collection. The invasion of privacy comes from the apparent pain of employees and outside contractors to listen to recordings from homes to improve the accuracy. Along with this, Amazon was feeding information from their search engines into a matrix to enhance their marketing strategy. Another scandal occurred in 2014 with Alphabet's leading competitor, Facebook, who got caught with Cambridge Analytica, a British political consulting firm where Facebook users had to download an app for a personality quiz, which then linked their Facebook account to this app, which retrieved personal information, who they're friends with, the pages them and their friends had liked. Facebook found out about this in 2015, and Zuckerberg proceeded to immediately ban the app from their platform. Initially in 2018, studies found that 50 million people were impacted by this, and later was found 87 million people were actually had their data breached. Facebook found out about this in late 2015, and Zuckerberg immediately banned the app on their platform. Initially in 2018, it was reported that 50 million people were impacted by this, and later data collected that 87 million people had actually had their data breached. The personal data was collected, then sold to political campaigns to provide analytics of American voters. From here, I'm going to pass it on to Peter to talk about the impact of COVID-19.
Thank you, Ashley. The COVID-19 outbreak has had a widespread effect on the global economy and the way organizations can productively perform. On the positive side for the companies, Facebook stated that the pandemic is causing record use of their social network. For instance, daily video and video calls on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger doubled as the virus spread. In turn, Google Cloud CEO Thomas Curran said traffic on his premium video conferencing property, Google Meet, has grown 60% day over day and is topping 2 billion minutes a day. That's 25 times the traffic of a typical day. Facebook and Alphabet have both taken drastic measures to ensure the safety of their employees and their brands as a whole. In March, Google confirmed that it is slashing its marketing budget by as much as half of the second half of the year and has imposed a hiring freeze for full-time and contract employees to reduce spending the rest of the year. Facebook stated that contractors, including content moderators, will work from home and will be paid in full indefinitely. Facebook and Alphabet state that their performance was strong during the first 2 months of the quarter, but then in March they experienced a significant slowdown in revenues. Finally, we can take a look at the impact COVID-19 had on Facebook and Alphabet's market share. First off, we can take a look at these graphs and see that Alphabet and Facebook have very similar trend lines throughout the year. Taking a look at Alphabet's graph, at the end of 2019, they had a market share of $12.31. As of April 6th, there was an 8.7% decrease as the price fell to $11.24 per share. For the full year, earnings are expected of $48.90, which is a 435% increase from April and 397% increase from the end of 2019. Now, taking a look at Facebook's graph, at the end of 2019, their market share was valued at $1.95 per share. As of April 6th, there was a decrease of 5.2% as the price fell to $1.85. For the full year, analysts are expecting earnings of $8.34 per share, which is a 450% increase from April and 427% increase from 2019. We appreciate your time and the opportunity to present about Alpha.